Now, a few ages ago, I made a video about how you can make any trope you touch a banger. I plug it in the end. But for some reason, there's a trope I just can't stop myself from hating. I find this trope as a cheap way to create conflict without actually doing the work of finding philosophical arguments within a theme to portray the different views and consequences behind that follow. This cheap trope I'm talking about that bypasses all of this hard work is the trope of misunderstandings. There is nothing I hate more than when the root of the main conflict of a story can be boiled down to a misunderstanding. I have 4 siblings. I see this all the time and it pisses me off, so I guess it's an extension of that. But really, any form of tension that stems from the audience recognizing a misunderstanding that the characters don't, and we're just there itching for whatever the problem is to no longer be lost in translation. I find it extremely cheap. I hate being ahead of the characters. I want to be mentally stimulated, and misunderstandings engage you without stimulating you. See, they attack your emotions, and this trope can actually be useful to us as writers. I underestimated the use of this trope because every time I saw it, or every time I noticed it, it was cheaply used. This is not a diss video. This is actually a video about what we can learn from the misunderstanding trope. I recognized the narrative potential of this trope when I read Prison School. Honestly, this manga is brimming with so much cheap misunderstandings that it would be near impossible to notice the good misunderstandings. Kind of like how it's hard to find a good person in a bad neighborhood, so you might not let your guard down and trust one even if they did show up.
Yeah, you can subscribe.
Now, the specific storyline in Prison School that made me recognize the potential of the misunderstanding trope was a storyline where the principal goes on some adventure where he gets amnesia, shags some big tycoon's fiancée, then it turns out he's hunting them or something. I mean, it's his fiancée, and so they're trying to escape, and then it's revealed that this guy is actually a good guy and he's trying to save them, and then there's this standoff where there's a bear behind the guy, and it's like the tycoon is pointing a gun at the bear, and the guy, the principal, is like, hey, you just trying to kill me? Are you just gonna shoot us while we are here and all vulnerable? And he's like, yo, bro, there's a bear behind you. I'm just trying to save you. Because, yeah, it's a misunderstanding. They don't know that the principal doesn't know that the business tycoon is a good guy. I think that's the essence of it. Obviously, it gets resolved, but yeah, that's the essence of it. So it gets played out like some sort of joke, goes on longer than it should. So I think you should be able to see why I think misunderstandings are cheap. They're always used for like comedy or something. You know, not some intense narrative like Dragon Ball. That was uncalled for. The potential I was blind to came from the specific type of misunderstandings that I saw in the scene. Misunderstandings that determined alignment. Misunderstandings that determined whether certain characters are on the same side or opposing sides when they wouldn't be if they understood each other. Think of the scenes where Hulk attacks people on his side because his rage makes him misunderstand their intentions until the tension finally subsides when he realizes. Or think of when the garrison couldn't understand Eren's true intentions and almost killed the guy because they thought he wasn't on their side. One wrong move could have ended everything there and then. See, it's tension based on misunderstanding, but I loved it. So clearly the trope isn't the problem. Putting aside my proclivity to ride Isayama's nuts, no homo. Why is it cheap when Prison School does it, but peak when Attack on Titan does it, or Avengers does it? Because Prison School does everything it can to escalate the misunderstanding to the point where it doesn't even make sense for someone to interpret something in that way. But Attack on Titan and Avengers do everything they can to clear up the misunderstanding, even at the risk of further escalating it based on how different characters would react. I watched the first 5 minutes of a Naked Gun movie and I could tell they were trying to be funny. They failed miserably. I felt like it was a waste of my time. That's what misunderstandings based on comedy are. A waste of time. These casual comedic misunderstandings feel like a waste of time, especially when they seem to hinder the plot and don't even reveal anything about a character. Attack on Titan's misunderstanding was central to the plot. We needed to see the military accept Eren. A Titan. These things have been cannibalizing humans. Yeah, we need to see them accept him as one of them before they could actually go anywhere with the story without making him look like a chosen one or a character who didn't earn his place. Misunderstanding that furthers the plot. And with Hulk, the misunderstandings reveal how aggressive he is as a character. Probably due to, him always being hunted down by every military force he sees. See, misunderstanding that shows something about a character. But the best kind of alignment-based misunderstandings are the ones with terrible consequences. Usually an initially good guy being manipulated by a bad guy because they misunderstood certain events. I mean, yeah, this sounds more like manipulation than misunderstanding, but bear with me. Think of Nagato joining the Akatsuki due to him misunderstanding the death of Yahiko and the manipulation by Toby. These types of deal with the devil misunderstandings where if a character ever realizes the truth, it's too late to turn back. Think of Sasuke taking revenge on Itachi for killing the Uchihas due to a misunderstanding of his true intentions to protect Sasuke himself. I believe my point has been effectively communicated. I guess I never really hate the misunderstanding trope. I just hate when the only reason it's there is because it's quote unquote funny, and when it doesn't even make sense for it to be there. Which takes us back full circle to the video I made ages ago about how to make any trope a banger. I was right all along, so go and watch it and support my channel by subscribing to my Patreon and check out my manga.